and he sees the totally massive army which came out of Isengard, of Uruk-hai, and Grima totally gave them the one flaw of Helm's Deep, which is this little tiny grating over here, which, if compromised, could destroy the entire facility. Now, armed with that knowledge, an army in the hundreds of thousands faces off against roughly around 500 humans, mainly consisted of underage youths and senile old men. And they're going to try and hold off this army. So, yeah, here are the riders. Yeah! Now, back to Sam and Frodo. We lost Frodo. Oh, here we go. Back at Sam and Frodo, they're back around with... Get in the rope, Gollum. Get in the fucking rope. Now they're back in the rope with Gollum, and he's taking them around the back door. Sam and Frodo have their fight for the first time about... Sam's going like, hey, you're totally showing more interest in the fucking horrible monster than me. I've been, like, feeding you and shit this entire time. And they see Oliphants, which are these huge, badass elephant creatures with the Easternlings, who are presumably Indian in nature, but they look really cool, Middle Eastern stuff. But they're off to join Sauron and in Isengard to rally their forces for the final war against man. So, you know, they're watching this entire spectacle like it was a NASCAR race, when all of a sudden, this entire ninja ambush group comes out of nowhere and starts sniping the fuck out of these guys. So, you know, the Oliphants are all distraught, the Easternlings are falling off, and then Frodo and Sam find themselves in another sticky situation when they get held up too. Thus, we step in with Faramir, Boromir's brother, and he takes them off to his bat cave underneath the waterfall. Now we go back to Helm's Deep, and Aragorn and Legolas have kind of a little lover's spat about, you know, which armor looks better on a little kid or some shit like that. But, you know, they eventually get over it, and they mount on the wall, and...
The elves come.
Yep, lo and behold, the elves come in their splendor, and they're like, we're not gonna let you guys fight alone, and they're all led by Haladir, who was the guy who held them up in the first movie and appears to have a total bro crush on Aragorn. Now, they start to head off against the army. The massive army of Uruk-hai, and you know, everybody's like, hold your arrows, wait until they're in range. There's some really cool building up shit. And some old guy on the first part of the wall who's missing an eye lets an arrow go, and he miraculously kills an orc, and then the shit hits the fan, and you know, everybody's fighting and shit, which is preceded by 40 minutes of the coolest medieval fighting I've ever seen, by the way. And here we go with the orc with the torch. So, he's got a torch, and he's doing the whole Olympic run in slow motion down the side. And Aragorn is like, Legolas, take him down! He's going for the gate. So Legolas, who's presumably the best marksman on Middle-earth, fails to bring this guy down before, like, in the face of his hundreds of confirmed kills, which he's done with a shield, an arrow, a knife, possibly Gimli. And, like, he runs over to the gate, and everything blows up. And, oh god, the wall's been compromised. Fall back, everybody, fall back. And, you know, everybody's running back up to the keep. And Theoden's already in there with his staff. Everybody's going back. The elves have all presumably been killed. Haladriel makes his last stand on the wall, and he gets gang stabbed by like a berserker, and it's very sad. But oh well, they get killed, and they're all held up in the fortress now. Now we're back to Sam and Frodo. Now, in the secretive Batcave of the Gondorian resistance, Faramir apparently asked them who they are. They didn't catch Gollum, apparently. So they're over here interrogating Sam and Frodo, and they tell him, we're just two friends. Yeah, friends. And we're going on a mission to, you know, Mordor. I hear it's beautiful this time of year. And Boromir totally calls me. Faramir totally calls me and is like, you're filled with shit. Come with me. So he takes him to the waterfall and he's like, hey, look down in the moon pool over there. And Golem's totally down there beating a fish and eating them. And he's like, now look over there. And there's a guy with an arrow. And he's like, if you don't tell me why you guys are really here, I'll have your mentally challenged friend executed. Now, Frodo finally spills the beans and everything. And they find out, oh shit, he actually has the One Ring. Okay, take their friend in for questioning. And, you know, they beat the shit out of him. And Golem develops schizophrenia, and he thinks he has two personalities. And he starts talking to himself. So they decide, we're going to take you guys to Gondor. You are now the winning device of the war. And they cage him off. Now they're the one in the bondage chain. And they take him off towards Gondor. Back to Merry and Pippin. He gets back, and it's like politics along the street, and it takes a long and hard time to talk about anything because we're ants and we have an attention span of about 5 minutes. But we've decided you guys aren't orcs because your skin isn't darker than a Crayola crayon. Now they're like, oh, wait, how about the war? Hold up a shit, we're getting to that. It'll be like 50 more minutes, and then we're good. So we go back to we go back to Helm's Deep, and they're held up in there, and Theoden is kind of losing his shit again. But Aragorn slaps him around, and he's like, "Hey, ride with me, bro." And they're like, "Totally." And they get all their horses, and they do this really cool Sunset Riders ride out as Gimli blows on the horn, and they do this final suicidal charge into like an ocean of swords. But Aragorn gets a secret message from Gandalf 3 days ago where he says, look to the east, and on the sunsets, look for my approach, or some shit like that. And as they're riding out, they see, oh, holy shit, Gandalf, and he's brought reinforcements. And it's kind of like, alright, if the Uruk-hai and orcs were people, imagine them in Singapore during the tsunami. And the tsunami is Gandalf and the Riders of Rohan. Now, sandwiched between this meat blender of Aragorn, they totally get sodomized. And that's a win. But now we go back to Merry and Pippin, and the tree council's like, no, we don't give a fuck about you guys. We're trees. We're always gonna be around here. But hold on, let me take you guys home to the Shire. Merry and Pippin are all distraught because they can't help their friends for shit. And then Merry comes up with an idea. Oh God.
Hello.
Sorry, folks. It looks like Treebeard blew his load. So, Merry and Pippin come up with this idea of taking Treebeard near Isengard, who apparently had a nice summer home, and he knew a family of squirrels and field mice there who were really cool to him. And he totally drops them when he finds out, oh my god, they've destroyed everything here. What the fuck, guys? And they're like, yeah, this war is gonna affect everybody, even the trees. And Treebeard totally does this awesome roar thing. And he summons the other Ents. And he's like, today we march towards our doom. And they are now going to siege Isengard. So we leave off with them. And we're back at Gondor with Frodo and Gollum and Sam and Faramir and his captain, and they're totally in the middle of this war with the orcs and Uruk-hai who are about to siege the city before they get to Gondor. Oh yeah. And, you know, Frodo does the whole ring thing because there's a ring wraith on a fucking dragon. On a fucking dragon. And, you know, he's making strafing runs, picking people off of buildings and shit, and Frodo has kind of a conniption fit, and he faints. And Sam, for the first time in the movie, sticks up for him, and he's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Can't you see what it's doing to him? We have to bring the ring to destroy it. It's not gonna bring your brother back. And Faramir is like, whoa, alright, we'll cover you guys. you get over to Mordor and totally take out the ring, so they tie Gollum up again. And Sam picks up Frodo in this awesome way, and they go off towards Mordor. And everybody, they do a heroic stand, and we don't know what's happening to them. Now, back to Isengard. Now, Treebeard earlier said we march to our doom. He was completely wrong, because apparently when he meant our doom, we meant we're totally gonna fuck everything up in Isengard. So Saruman wakes up from his afternoon tea and rushes to the window and sees everything he's taken a year to build being destroyed in approximately 15 seconds by these giant fucking trees. And, you know, they blow up the dam, everything gets drowned, but the trees are okay. Not a single tree fell, and they're sodomizing the orcs. They get on top of them and pick them up and tear them in half. And Grima Wormtongue's in there, and he's being a total pussy, and he runs inside. In the extended movie, apparently, Grima eventually gets offed by Saruman, but we'll not get into that. Important thing is, Treebeard wins, Isengard falls. Now, we end the movie with Frodo and Sam and Gollum in bondage, and Sam gives this wonderful story about we have to stick through the stories, even through the bad parts, and there's gonna be a brighter tomorrow and stuff, and I love you, Mr. Frodo. What? Nothing. Let's keep going.